In this episode, you'll discover how to keep the stroke rate the same and make the boat go faster.
Feel the grip of the oar handle, smooth yet firm in your hands. Taste the salt of your own sweat and the occasional splash of water. It's all part of the journey. Welcome to another episode of Faster Masters Rowing Radio. Each week, our host, Masters rowing coach Rebecca Caro, dives deep into the world of Masters rowing. Whether you're on the water or in the gym, join us to become a faster master. Let's go rowing.
Hello, everybody. I'm Rebecca Caro, and today we're tackling a topic which is very close to my heart. It is how to increase the intensity of your rowing. Now, this is a very long-term project, which all started when we had a lovely gent join our group for our weekly winter erg sessions. And I realized that less experienced rowers push the oar less hard than more experienced rowers. And recognizing that you need to train this in order to push the water faster. And yet, this is also something that it is not immediately obvious what the benefits are. So starting with your stroke rate, we're all familiar with how many strokes per minute we take. Say it's 20. At 20 strokes a minute, it's around 3 seconds per stroke to get from one catch to the next catch. And that's broken down into the power phase when the oar's under the water and the recovery phase when the oar is out of the water. Now, pushing the oar through the water will maybe take you 1.2, maybe to 1.5 seconds. So maybe up to half the 3 seconds that we've got to take a stroke. And yet we row with a ratio, usually at low rates, with at least 2 to 1. So time in the water versus time out of the water. And one of the things that I realized that the more experienced rowers do is they give themselves more rest every single stroke. And the way they do that is they push the oar through the water with high intensity, so that instead of taking 1.5 seconds to go through the water, it's maybe 1.2 seconds, maybe 1.1 seconds. And then when the oar is out of the water, they have a little bit more time. And they're very skilled at relaxing their muscles so that they take a little break before the next catch. So the goal here is, how do you row at the same stroke rate? You're still going to row at 20 strokes a minute, but you're delivering more force into the hull, you're pushing more water, and your boat goes faster. And the key that we found to training this in our long ergs was to have a little focus that initially we did once every 5 minutes just for 10 strokes. So it was very short period of time in the context of doing a 40-minute or hour-long steady row. And the focus was this: during those 10 strokes, you push a lot harder through the power phase, but you're not allowed to take the rate up. And so this began to showcase to everybody how much harder they could push and how much more rest they could give themselves. Now, I totally recognize that when you're doing a steady workout, you want to be at a reasonably low heart rate. It very much depends on your personal fitness, your aerobic fitness, as to whether you could do this. And of course, your muscular strength, your peak force generation is also a contributing factor. If you're not fit, you will get very exhausted very quickly just with 10 strokes of increased intensity. But you can probably guess what happens next. We then quietly moved to, instead of doing it for 10 strokes every 5 minutes, we would do it for a minute. So 10 strokes at rate 20 is around 30 seconds. So we would increase the number of intense strokes. And after each intense 10 initially, and then obviously minute, we would allow 5 strokes to sort of get your breath back. Now, we encourage people to not go super light when they do those 5 strokes. We encourage them just to use those 5 strokes to give themselves a small amount more rest, not to go completely soft. And then over time, we found that you shouldn't need those 5 strokes to give yourself rest, so that you're slowly building up to being able to row a 20-minute steady state erg at this slightly higher intensity. Now, let's take the same principle into the rowing boat. In the rowing boat, we have a call up one, down one. And what this means is you take the stroke rate up 1 point with the oar going through the water, and you take the stroke rate down 1 point on the slide. So if you're rowing at rate 20, you want to go through the water at rate 21, and you want to go up the slide at rate 19. It nets out to 20. But this has the same effect of encouraging increasing intensity through the water while not changing the stroke rate. And the more you can train yourself to increase the intensity at whatever stage you're at in your own rowing, you will find that you can get a better ratio. When you get a better ratio, you get more rest on the recovery. You need to learn how to use that rest to relax your muscles, which is a different episode, which you can probably find in the archive. But it allows you the benefit of slightly more boat speed, slightly more time on the recovery, which helps you to feel a little more relaxed. You feel like you have more time to do all the things that you have to do on the recovery. And that helps to keep the boat level, and it keeps it moving fast through the water. So give it a go. Try up one, down one. Try increasing your intensity. Do it for short periods to begin with, because it is tiring, but start to train yourself. And you can do this in your warm-up. You can do it in your pick drill. Start with 10 strokes at each position. Do 5 of them your normal pressure, 5 of them with slightly increased intensity. See what difference it makes. Listen to your boat. Hear how the hull is surging through the water. Hear what the ripples sound like. Hear what the timing of your blade work is, because that all contributes to getting this lovely feeling of boat run. If you haven't yet joined our newsletter, please do so. The sign up is in the footer of our website. A weekly update that goes to over 7,000 people. Till next time.
We are part of the Rowing Chat Podcast Network. Please tell your fellow rowers about the show. If you've learned just one helpful thing from today's episode, please consider supporting the show for as little as $1 per month by visiting fastermastersrowing.com/podcast.